There's a particular kind of exhaustion you carry, heavy, unspoken, almost sacred in the way you guard it. Not the exhaustion from lack of sleep or too much work, but the exhaustion of someone who's been holding themselves together for far too long. You know this feeling. You wake up and immediately calculate the day, what has to be done, what you can't afford to fail at, what you must carry alone. You move through the world quietly, with a strange mix of hunger and restraint. Ambition burns in you, but so does fear. A fear of collapsing, a fear of being exposed, a fear that if you stop striving for even a moment, everything will fall apart. Quiet, ambitious minds aren't loud. They're not impulsive. They're not reckless. Their drive is precise, internal, almost surgical. But beneath that drive is something darker, something that whispers when the world is silent, a voice that says, you don't get to rest, you don't get to fail, you don't get to be human. And this is the paradox. The very traits that saved you once, your discipline, your independence, your ability to endure, are now the reason you suffer. You didn't choose ambition out of pure desire. You chose it because you had to. Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that your worth is conditional, measured not in who you are, but in what you produce. This is not motivation. This is emotional debt. Debt you've been repaying for years with perfection, silence, and self-abandonment. And today, we're going to talk about the psychology of that debt and why quiet, ambitious minds carry the heaviest burden. Quiet ambition is not just a personality trait, it's a psychological adaptation, a response to early emotional environments where softness felt unsafe and failure felt unforgivable. 3 core psychological mechanisms define this archetype. Number 1, hypervigilant self-regulation. This comes from growing up in environments where emotional unpredictability required you to stay one step ahead. You learn to track tone, anticipate reactions, and adjust yourself accordingly. Hypervigilance doesn't disappear in adulthood, it evolves. It becomes productivity, discipline, ambition. Because if you're always working, you don't have to feel. Number 2, conditional worth schema. In cognitive psychology, a schema is a core belief system formed early in life. Quiet, ambitious people almost always carry this one. I am only lovable when I am useful. This is why compliments feel uncomfortable, why rest feels dangerous, why success feels temporary, why you brace yourself even when nothing is wrong. Your entire identity has been built around proving, earning, performing. Number 3, default mode market overactivation. For quiet, ambitious minds, it overfires. Not because you are overthinkers, but because your brain was trained to analyze threat, responsibility, and self-worth nonstop. This is why your mind never shuts up, why even small decisions feel high stakes, why you are mentally on duty all the time. Your ambition isn't a goal, it's a survival pattern. You became exceptional out of necessity, not luxury. The emotional cost and philosophical weight. But here is where the real suffering begins, because emotional debt always demands repayment. You pay with your sleep, you pay with your relationships, you pay with your health, you pay with the version of you that wanted a gentler life. There's a grief inside you rarely acknowledge, a grief for the childhood you didn't get to enjoy, a grief for the ease you never learned, a grief for the softness you still don't believe you deserve. Carl Jung once said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents." Quiet, ambitious minds often carry exactly that, the weight of expectations, spoken or unspoken, the inherited pressure to become what others couldn't, or to avoid becoming what others feared. Your core fear isn't failure, it's exposure. The fear that if people saw your real insecurities, your real needs, your real humanity, they'd withdraw their love. So you push harder, you work more, you silence the trembling parts of yourself, and every time you do, the emotional debt grows. You become someone who is praised for their strength, but privately dying from the cost of maintaining it. You become someone who inspires others, but cannot allow yourself to be held. You become someone who achieves more than most, yet feels emptier than people would ever believe. This is the secret suffering of the quiet, ambitious mind, the unbearable weight of being your own only source of safety. Adult manifestation and unlearning. By adulthood, this emotional debt shows up in painfully predictable ways. You might set impossibly high standards for yourself, not because you love excellence, but because falling short feels like existential failure. Struggle to ask for help. Help feels like burden. Vulnerability feels like risk. You'd rather break quietly than disappoint loudly. Become the responsible one in every relationship. You carry emotional labor, planning, problem solving, because it feels safer to be dependable than to be seen. Fear rest. Rest triggers guilt. Guilt triggers anxiety. So you stay busy. Even your relaxation becomes productive. Gravitate toward emotionally unavailable people, because deep down, availability feels foreign, almost dangerous. You choose people you have to earn. Internalize failure as identity. You don't think you failed. You think you are the failure. And here's the truth. These are not personality traits. They're coping strategies. Ghosts of the child who tried so hard to stay safe. But healing begins with witnessing this pattern, not blaming yourself for it. You aren't dramatic. You aren't overreacting. You aren't too sensitive. You are emotionally indebted, carrying years of labor no one ever saw. Unlearning begins when you stop gaslighting yourself and start acknowledging the weight you've carried alone. The healing, conclusion, and affirmation. Healing quiet ambition doesn't mean becoming less ambitious. It means learning to be ambitious without self-abandonment. It means 3 things. Number 1, inner child reparenting. You give the younger you permission to rest, to fail, to be imperfect. The permission no one gave you. Number 2, nervous system softening. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about teaching the body that safety can exist without performance. Breathwork, slowing down, small acts of softness. Number 3, rewriting the worth narrative. You learn to separate identity from productivity, to recognize that your value is not a transaction. It is inherent. Nietzsche once wrote, "No one can build you a bridge on which you must walk across the river of life." Healing means choosing to build that bridge, not from perfection, but from truth. And if you take anything from this video, let it be this. You do not need to earn the right to rest. You do not need to earn the right to be loved. You do not need to keep paying a debt you never owed. Quiet, ambitious minds don't suffer because they are weak. They suffer because they are carrying the world silently, while still trying to build a better one. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who carries the same invisible weight. Subscribe if you want more videos that speak to the parts of you you're still learning to love. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to become whole.